Roger Ebert once wrote that movies are a machine that generates empathy, that they let you climb inside the skin of another person and see the world through their eyes. And I think that's the most honest thing anyone's ever said about why cinema matters, one of the most. Not because movies entertain you, not because they're escapism, but because at their best, they make you feel less alone by making you feel seen by a stranger. I've been thinking about that a lot after seeing two very different movies this week. Project Hail Mary was a blockbuster, safe, warm, beautiful movie where we all unite behind a caricature of a lovable astronaut and a spider crab alien, making friends across the void of space. It's wholesome, it's happy, it's optimistic. It's the kind of movie that gets you out of your head for 2 hours and puts you back in a slightly better mood. And then there's the drama, which is the other thing, the machine that makes you squirm, the one that puts you and whoever you came with in the car afterward in complete silence because neither of you wants to go first. I liked the drama. I didn't love it, but I think it's doing something important, and I want to talk about what that is, and also where I think it stops short of greatness. The drama is written and directed by Norwegian filmmaker Kristoffer Borgli, and it stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson as a happily engaged couple whose wedding week goes off the rails after an unexpected confession. I'm going to leave the revelation itself vague because I went into this kind of knowing absolutely nothing, though if you've seen any of the marketing, you've already got a good idea, because the what of the confession is almost beside the point. The film is really about what happens after. It's about the way a piece of information you can't unlearn colonizes everything around it. Every memory, every casual gesture, every familiar habit suddenly has a question mark on it. The film is ultimately about Charlie, played by Robert Pattinson's existential panic, as he oscillates between wanting to believe his fiancée when she tells him she's not the person she was in high school, and the overriding desire to cut and run. And Borgli frames all of that through the lens of a very specific social setting, a wedding week surrounded by friends and catering decisions and seating charts, which creates this unbearable pressure cooker of propriety. You have to keep smiling, you have to keep planning, you have to keep performing while everything underneath is rotting. The editing, these abrupt juxtapositions, these jagged leaps in time, it gives the movie a beautifully polished surface that feels like it's constantly about to crack. These are the formal tools of discomfort, and Borgli uses them well. And let's talk about what really makes this movie work, because it is the casting that obviously drew me in. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya are the two, biggest movie stars on the planet right now. And they both take a massive swing here. No franchise armor, no spectacle to hide behind, just two people in a really nice Boston apartment. Really, that apartment was nice. We kept talking about this after the movie. Slowly destroying their relationship with every conversation. Pattinson plays Charlie as a stereotypically soft, tousle-headed British man whose cowardice gradually overtakes his charm. An incredibly witty and precise performance that, collapses in intervals from scene to scene. Pattinson is also really, really good because he's just been doing all these different roles and none of them really feel alike. I mean, it's funny. I remember seeing he was making this and Die, My Love, and I thought he's really just trying to do these weird relationship movies, but this is completely different from his character in Die, My Love. And honestly, it does say something about a performer to just constantly be shaking it up. Shake it up, Zendaya reference. I didn't even plan that. But she's also really great. And, I've always kind of critiqued Zendaya as, my whole thing with her, as I've said, she's an excellent, talented singer, but I've always wanted more just in her performance, especially in, blockbusters like Dune or Spider-Man. It's not like she gets to really delve into a character there, or even in Challengers. I don't know, there's just something with the characters she plays where she doesn't get to explore a lot of depth. Here, she is doing something a bit different. I did think, her role here is very great, and a lot of the movie hinges on her performance and, her vulnerability and the emotion she brings to it. She's very solid here. They both have great chemistry, and the acting is fantastic. Alana Haim also is excellent in this role. She was in One Battle After Another, Licorice Pizza recently, but she's a total standout here, an excellent supporting actress. Don't really want to say much more about her role, but you'll know when you see it. She's really great in this role. Now, I really did like this movie. It's very well crafted. But Borgli's previous film, Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage, I loved that movie. And I think the reason is simple. Dream Scenario just had more of a creative premise, a completely ordinary man who randomly starts appearing in strangers' dreams and then turns into a nightmare in them. It's a premise that could only come from a filmmaker with a distinctive imagination. It gave Borgli a metaphor so rich it basically writes its own second and third acts. The idea of being famous for something you have no control over, then infamous for the same reason, that's brilliant. That's one of those premises where the concept does half the emotional heavy lifting. And the drama's premise is compelling, but it's more rooted and realistic, which is both its strength and its limitation. Borgeli's made an anti-rom-com. It emphasizes discomfort, cowardice, and moral compromises. Don't let the poster of Pattinson and Zendaya in each other's arms fool you. Woe is the date night couple that takes in this film without carving out time for some awkward post-screening conversation. And look, I think comparisons to Lars von Trier are apt in the sense that this is a filmmaker who wants the audience unsettled, who treats cringe not as a gag, but as an instrument. But von Trier's movies, Lars von Trier, I love his early works. At their best, have an almost operatic emotional commitment underneath the provocation. The drama sometimes feels like it mistakes discomfort for profundity. And I saw a New York Times review, and I agreed with that. That was kind of saying the same thing. The film digs two complicated characters into a frighteningly complex whole, and then offers unearned forgiveness. It's a failure of nerve at the finish line. And I think that's the most honest criticism you can level at it. Not that it doesn't work, but that it could have worked harder. Because this is, at the end of the day, a really great film. I'm just like, man, Dream Scenario is so much better. There's so much more to discuss. Where with this, I just feel like, yeah, it's interesting, it's topical, but I don't know, it's not like it goes crazy deep. Argue with me in the comments. I'm honestly curious what you guys have to say. But here's the thing, going back to Ebert, going back to what movies are for, the best films don't have to be formally revolutionary to do their job. The drama is not trying to reinvent cinema, it's trying to put you in a room with a couple you recognize, or worse, a couple you are, and ask a question you don't want to answer, and it succeeds at that. The most surprising thing about the drama is that, after all it puts you through, you end the film where you started, with a love story. That's not nothing, that's actually quite difficult. Think about what it takes for a premise this radioactive, a confession this uncomfortable, characters this morally messy to land as a love story. That's the tonal tightrope Borgeli's walking, and mostly he walks it well. Project Hail Mary, connected us to each other by giving us something pure and joyful to share. The drama connects us to each other by making us look at something ugly we recognize. Both are valid. Both are what cinema does. Both are why people go to the movies. The machine works in multiple modes. And the fact that two of the biggest stars in Hollywood, two people who could have made anything, chose to make this with A24, with Borgli without a safety net, that swing alone is worth respecting, even if they don't hit it out of the park. And I think they're pretty good. They're both going to be in The Odyssey and Dune. They're fine. They're going to be fine. So let me know what you guys think of the drama. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'm very excited to see what Christopher Borgli cooks up next. He is a very talented artist and already asked to produce this. You can tell his mark was on there too. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll see you in the next one.